Okay, so for today's video, we're going to do some science. I always had a thought about, basically, we all have I guess most people have a horrific experience when they go to the Games Workshop website and for some reason the page is set to New Zealand or Australia and you almost die of a heart attack. So I've always wanted to sort of look at what essentially the buying power everyone has in a bunch of different countries, so which is rather than not comparing the prices per se, but we will do a bit of that, but how much product can you buy, like what percentage of your weekly income is a certain product from Games Workshop, all translated and all converted into US dollars, just to make things easier to understand. So I've decided to go with just a Legions Imperialis kit, mostly because for the last like 5 to 6 months that they've been released, they've all been for the same price, at least in New Zealand. So there hasn't been any sort of stealth price increases or weird currency conversion issues. So the data I'm using the official OECD data. I've managed to find data from 2001, which has the median and mean disposable income, which is basically after tax and other expenses. I can actually show you a breakdown. This is the old site, which doesn't exist it's going to go away at the end of May. And I can't find this same data on my new one, but this actually, I can find the actual totals, but not the actual breakdown. So yeah, so with this data, it's showing the breakdown. So we have up there the total that we actually have in our proper data. And then you essentially have your income, your additional income, I believe, additional transfers, which that could also be potentially like super or something, and then your taxes and stuff. So it sort of breaks it down for some countries. Not all the countries have it though. So going back to the actual main data. So what I've got 5 countries which actually have data in this. So we've got United States, the UK. So the United States, in a way, we're using as a baseline because we're using everything in US dollars. We have the UK, which is the literal baseline of how much things should cost, because there's no shipping involved. Canada, because adjacent to the United States, and then Norway and Sweden, because they're about to get reamed in price increases. So I think it would be interesting to see what this looks like after the June price increase. So for these 5 countries, we have the official data from the OECD. So we've got the mean and the median and mean. And then for 3 more countries, I've had to work it up. So it's called made up New Zealand, Australia, and Japan data. So it's not actually made up, I just used it. So it's scientifically not comparable to the other data because I've had to sort of work it out myself. So for Japan, I've taken the 2021 main total, like net income, so before taxes, which I do have access from the OECD website. I put that through a calculator I found online. So I don't know how accurate that's going to be. And for New Zealand and Australia, I've done the same, used the same data, but I put it through the official calculators. I've done it for the financial year of 2001 to 2022. Might be more comparable to the other data, but it's still not actually comparable to the other data. And so that's, yeah, so these only have means, except New Zealand, which has I've done something extra there, which I'll explain later. And then going through the price of kits. So and it's basically, we're looking at a $50 US kit, which translated into US dollars from UK is $37. So it's relatively cheaper. It's kind of understandable. Canada is also, even though it's 60 Canadian, because the exchange rate's so bad, it's only $43. So theoretically, as you could easily get across the Canadian border and you live close enough to a Games Workshop, you can go there and buy your stuff there cheaper. Norway and Sweden are kind of interesting. It's actually kind of cheap. it looks like it's cheaper in the UK right now, which is might actually be why they are getting such large price increases. In New Zealand, it's only actually $6. Like, so it's only $56. United in the US, so it isn't like it doesn't seem that bad. But even though it's $94, like that's how little our money's worth. And Australia's basically the same. Their $80 is 52, and Japan is not too bad actually. Theirs comes out at 43 US dollars. But this is sort of when your income actually comes into play, because some of these countries don't have as much as others, so they won't go as far. Last three are actually the worst. Okay, so starting off in the United States, we have, so their median income is about 49,000 a year, and their mean is 60. And then just so I've basically converted that into divided by 52 to get the weekly, just to make it more comparable. And then this is the percentage of the income spent if they bought that kit. So for example, on medium income, that $50 kit is just over 5% of your weekly income, and it's just over 4% for the mean income. So that's basically what we've done. So we effectively, the most important data we're basically comparing is both of these. Both the medium and the mean, because I think a lot of people, the fact that the mean is lower than the median is lower than the mean means that a lot of people were earning under. Also, I forgot to mention, this is only people from 18 to 50 or 65. So it's not counting people under that who work like part-time during high school, and not counted retired people. So yeah, so basically half of the United States in that age bracket is earning less than median, basically. So half of America earning less than 50k a year. And then we've got the UK. Yeah, so the median in the UK is 28,000 and the mean is 30. And percentage of income, we have percentage of median income is 6.8%, so almost 7%. So effectively, for half of the people working in the UK, one of these small kits is coming across as probably over 7%, or potentially over 70% of their weekly income for most of those people, which is actually really insane when you think about it. It gets worse though. And then like the mean is almost 6. There are Canada. The median income from Canada is 40,000 and the mean is 45. And then when you start comparing this to the United States, like that's where you start getting, okay, so it's technically cheaper, but they earn a lot less. So as we see here, it's slightly higher percentage. It's not a huge amount. It's like 0.4 to 0.7-ish% higher of income. So it's not actually that much different. So it's pretty close. So the fact it's cheaper sort of makes up for the fact that earn less. So it's kind of like pricing gone right, in my opinion. Like that's sort of what you want, actually relatively close. Which is what they do with like video games. So they get sold for really cheap in like Russia and China and stuff, because they don't have the money. So you're going to target that same percentage, at least get something from them. And then we've got Norway with 43,000 a year for median and 48 for mean. And for their prices, it is only 3.6% of the income for medium and 3.2 for the mean, which I think I know what. Yeah, this at least for Norway, it justifies the price increase, I believe. Like that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to bring some sort of parity up. But then you'd think there'd be a decrease in some countries. or no increase. Then again, last time they did increase, they didn't increase it in New Zealand and Australia, so it's probably a similar sort of logic. But Sweden, I think will have slightly different numbers, as their mean income is only 32, and their medium is 32, and mean is only 35. So they're going to get absolutely reamed, because they are roughly in that ballpark of what Games Workshop wants to be charging you, like your percentage of income, but then they're going up by, instead of 2% or 2 to 5, it's going to be like 15. So Sweden's getting absolutely screwed over by this. Norway will be fine. Sweden, no. Then, so what we got for New Zealand. So there's nothing here. But for New Zealand, for the, instead of a median, what I've put through is I've put my hourly wage in a 40-hour week. Technically, I'm not doing 40 hours right now because I'm being a bit lazy. But yeah, so this is what I would be earning if I was doing a 40-hour week. So instead of medium, that's me. So I'd be getting just under 500 US dollars a week. I'm really lucky. I'm actually, where I'm staying is really cheap. So one kit. So technically it's worse than this because I'm not working full time right now. I'm working like 32-ish hours. But yeah, so one of these kits is basically just over 11% of my income, which is absolutely insane. And then you got the median, which I think is like 77,000 a year New Zealand dollars. So we have that. So for someone working actually what I would consider a really good wage in New Zealand, which I'd love to get paid that much, 8% of income. So it's 3% higher than it should be, effectively. Then we've got Australia. So Australia has, so their mean disposable income is 45,000, which means they have 6%. So Australia is almost in the right place. They earn quite a lot more. So they are kind of in the right place when you think about it. So it's not too bad. And in Japan, I think it's going to be a little worse, other than myself. So they're getting mean disposable income, so mean income after tax is 22,000 US dollars a year, which ends up like just like 430 a week. And how much percent? 10%. So they are paying less from the United States for a kit, converted, yet their income is, the percentage of their income for that kit is over double of the United States. Absolutely insane. It's like Japan needs a price cut. 100%. Like, this is ridiculous. It would be nice if New Zealand got one as well. If New Zealand just got this shit, have the same price as Australia, it would be fine. Because I'm perfectly okay playing. If I could go down to my Games Workshop and I had to pay in Australian dollars, I'd be happy. Because the conversion rate isn't that bad. I'd be paying only $6 less, but still. Yeah, and another issue, just on a side note for this, is, which is where most of all my issues with Australia existing as a country come from, is, for example, video games. So let's say a game sells for 60 US dollars in the United States. They'll then charge, because Australians can't afford it, they'll start charging Australians 80 US dollars. And then because we're right next to Australia, we get charged 80 US dollars. Yeah, we can't afford it. We literally fucking can't afford it. And they keep fucking reaming us. It's ridiculous. Like, New Zealand, we make nothing. We are in a really bad spot, like, economically, and I don't see us actually coming back from it anytime soon. And we just get charged Australian prices for everything. It's honest to God ridiculous. Like, even just digital games, I just charge extra $20 for no reason. So that is sort of the current state of the Games Workshop economy, or market, or buying power. So that's how much buying power you have. And then you can just effectively extrapolate based on if your income's higher or less than this. Like, one thing I forgot to mention, all the income for all these countries except for Japan is trending up. So it's likely these actual percent, all the data I've used in the description. So I've got this link, which is for the disposable income, and I do have a link for, this is the original calculation I worked based before I found the disposable income. So this is just the mean average. I've also pretty much did all the currency conversions on that XE side, whatever it is. I pretty much did all of them yesterday. I did some of the ones today. So these three, which aren't scientific comparable, were done today. So they're even more non-scientifically comparable, but it's fine. Yeah, but all these conversions here were done yesterday. As with same times the price conversions, effectively. Because I think this part of the site did actually have already converted to US dollars conversions, but then I compared them to the current exchange rate, and they were not even close. So I did the home country income and converted it. That way it'll be the same exchange rate as used for the price of a kit, just to keep things a bit the same. But yeah, just tell me, I guess, just in the comments, just tell me what you think about this. Like, does it put any different perspectives on like prices in different countries, or yeah? So yeah, thank you for coming and watching, and I hope you enjoyed my science. Technically, I'm not a qualified data scientist, so take this with a grain of salt. Unfortunately, I'm a computer scientist, not a data scientist. But I tried. But yeah, thanks for coming, everyone, and I hope to see you all next time.